So good Erev Shabbos to all. As we begin and we embark on Masechta Kesuvos, also known as Shas Cotton. It's a conglomerate of many, many different inyanim. It's one of the most famous Masechtas in Shas because it's learned in yeshiva. And there's not one person who's sitting here has not seen a Daf Gemara in Kesuvos. It's not possible. Well, again, we're discussing Ishus. We understand that we discussed Barichas in Masechta Yevamos, the concept of Kedushin and Nesuin. The word Kedushin and the word Arusa are very synonymous. That means a woman who accepted Kesef or Shtar from a man, and she's now married to this person. However, they don't live together yet. That's accomplished by Nesuin or Chuppah. That is so in terms of Erison, synonymous with Kedushin, and Nesuin is synonymous with Chuppah. Exactly what Chuppah is the big machlokes. Again, we will get to the sugya, but just generally, there's three types of chuppah. One holds it's a woman who went out bit hinuma. Hinuma is the veil. So therefore, there's a shita, the badekin, that you do by the badekin, by the chasana, that's chuppah. Then there's, of course, the chuppah. And then some people say chuppah is yichud. Yichud is when you take into the room yourself. You're being into your rishus. Those are the three opinions of what chuppah is. Now, a woman gets something called a ksuba. We are familiar with ksuba. We discussed it we discussed it as it related to Yevamos, whether a woman got the ksuba. The ksuba was on the nechasim of the dead brother. The nechasim are meshubit to pay the ksuba. There's a lien on the property, and the question is exactly, ksuba is a marital contract. Is it deraisa or not? What exactly is the source for ksuba? So I share with you the words of Pinchas Kahati in his Hakdama to Kesuvos. Be'inyan ikar haksuba shel besula yesh das omeres. The different opinions. Kesuvos ishim in Torah. Gemara in Daf Kesuvos, we're going to see in Daf Yud and above, says that Kesuvos of an ish is min Torah. Shekein lemeidim islam and akasav. The pasuk says kesef yishkol kamar psulas. It says by Ranusa kesef you should weigh her like the gifts of besulas. Mashma that there's a gift given to besulas. The gift of the besula, shu kesef aksuba. That should be the amount of the fine given to a woman who was raped or seduced. And Haimu Chamishim kesef shel Torah, that's 50 kesef of the Torah, what we call 50 selah. Shehi Masayim dinar, which is 200 dinar, which this is in ancient denominations. Baram, nonetheless, even though it's mashma from the Gemara, the Kesuvos deraisa, hadasam kubelas b'Gemara, the accepted opinion in Gemara is the ksuba is that the kanas chachamim kadesh leitei isha kala be'enei baila laitzia. That should be difficult to divorce her. In other words, if you have a fight, a very bad fight, and I divorce my wife, well, you may divorce her if it doesn't cost you anything. But once it costs you something, then you're not so quick. So the ksuba is a marital contract. It's to protect the woman from the husband divorcing her. And bisman hazeh, the husband can't divorce because of Rabbi and Gershom. You're not able to divorce against your will, but this was before that. That it's a takanas chachamim, that the ksuba, even though it seems to be from the Gemara midaraisa, it really is only midarabanan. That's right. Even the opinion, the ones who ksuba is minatayra, ain't kavanasam shehim Torah mamish. Doesn't mean it's mamish minatayra. That the chacham found the support in the Torah for the concept of ksuba, right? We'll see later on. Daf Yud, kesef yishkol kamar besulas, sheyezeh kamar besulas, umar besulas kazeh. That each one should be like the other. Mikan some chachamim l'ksubas isha min haTorah. They found a smach for ksubas isha min haTorah, and he zeichens the Tosfos in Masechta Saita. Okay, so basically that's a brief overview as to exactly. The Mishnah says that there's two types of ksuba. There's a 200 and there's 100, and exactly when people will get married. So welcome to Masechta Kesuvos, and I begin with the first line and classic blog material. This is going to make my brother-in-law go nuts. The Sula Nisas L'Yom Haravi. A Basula gets married on Wednesday, on the fourth day of the week. The Almona L'Yom Chamishi, and Almona gets married on a Thursday. Okay, why is this? Shepamim b'Shabbos, pamayim b'Shabbos, twice a week, but they did him yoshvim by Yaris. There was a takana for Ezra that the but they didn't would go ahead and they would come together on Mondays and Thursdays. They would come together on Mondays and Thursdays. So the reason why a basula, this is not coming to speak about an almana, it's coming to speak about a basula, that a basula would go ahead and get married on Wednesday. Why? Shem yeshle tainus basulim, if in fact the man has tainus basulim, hayamashkim lebesdin. Okay, so first blog material, and then we'll get to this. My son Simcha shared with me from Rav Meir Shapiro. We know that English is a language that is made up of a multitude of languages. It's not its own language. So, for example, if you look at the word camel, it comes from the word gomel. If you look at the word ish, it comes from ish. If you look at the word peiros, it comes from the word fruit. If you don't go ahead and put pei, reish, vav, saf, spells that fruit. So the English language comes from other languages, and we know Lashon Kodesh is the original language. Did you ever wonder why Wednesday is spelled such a weird way? How do you spell Wednesday? Wednesday. Wednesday. And it says Rav Moshe Shapiro, he thinks because women would get married on a Wednesday, Yom Revi'i. That's why we spell it W-E-D. Is that not fascinating or what? The source of the word Wednesday. Because women would get married on a Wednesday because it's spelled such an unbelievable way. I thought it was so fascinating. Okay, anyway, getting to the job at hand. So what would happen? What guys, outside, just look at me. What are you worried about over here? We know a woman would get married to accept kesef or shtar. She is now, for all intents and purposes, an eshes ish. If any man is with her, then they are both mechuyev misa. If there's Eidim and Asra, they're mechuyev misa. She's an eshes ish. That's the deal. She's an eshes ish. If there's Eidim and Asra, she's an eshes ish. So now, what are you worried about? That she got married to this fellow. He now lives with her after Nisuin, and he finds that she doesn't have a basulim. There's no blood. There's no basulim. And he wants to claim that what? That she was mizana, right? She was mizana tachti. That's what he wants to claim. So what do? If you have that claim, you're going to go to Bezdin. Now, what in the world is going to Bezdin going to help? What? In other words, the only thing that could possibly help if there's Eidim to the dastardly deed, right? So you're going to go with Bezdin and say, I didn't find Basulim. What's going to happen? So let's see Rashi over here. Very important Rashi. Okay. B'sheni b'chamishi, achas me'asor takonis shetikin Ezra. These are one of 10 takonis that Ezra was metaking. B'Baba Kama b'Perek Meruba. Mefarish l'kulim, and then we get all 10 in Baba Kama. Ulakach tiknu shetinase b'Revi. They made a takana to get married in Wednesday. Shem hoisla tainus besulim yashkim lebezdin. You'll get up and go to Bezdin. Boyd kasla your love while he's still angry. And if there's time in between the physical act of living with his wife and when Bezdin convenes, then we're worried that Shema Yispayas, maybe he will be appeased. V'tiskara daitoi, and his das will be literally cooled off. V'yikaimenu, and he'll keep her without going to Bezdin. V'shema he's zinsa tachtov, and maybe she was mizana, right? V'nesra love, and as a result, she would be usher. He wouldn't be permitted to go ahead and live with her. So, therefore, it's necessary to have Bezdin that it's with her on a Wednesday night. Oh yeah, Thursday morning we're going to Bezdin. There's no time in between. Obviously, the Gemara is going to ask if Bezdin convened on Monday, so why don't you have to let her get married Sunday? You'd have the same ability. Sunday night, if he didn't find Basulim, he'd go Monday morning. The Gemara will ask that question. V'nesra love, guys, if she was Mizanat Hachtov, she's usaf to live with. In other words, forget about getting killed. Maybe if you know that she was Mizana, he can't live with her. Asa lebal v'asa leboil. She's a saita, a vadai saita. Asa lebal. She can't live together. Kidiyafinin saita dav chavches. B'vinistra v'hinit ma. She is nistera. She's clandestine with, and v'hinit ma. And now she's tamei. Tamei means she can live. And guys, here's what you have to underline if you have your Gemara. Umitoich sheyavoy lebezdin, and if she go to Bezdin, what's going to help? Yizbare hadava, the matter will become clear. Kishayoytze hakol. Oh, 1 second. You know what? He's claiming that she wasn't a Basula. Shema yavayedim. You know what? We taka saw her with somebody who wasn't a husband. We saw her go behind closed doors. We saw something. So therefore, Gemara Parach v'tinasi b'ech b'Shabbos, the Gemara will say, get married on a Sunday. Says Rashi, telling us, what will help going to Bezdin? Once something goes to Bezdin, it has the coil, it has publicity behind it. There's a court case, he has a claim, and as a result, what? It will become clear what exactly what happened. That's what Rashi says. So the couple of Masechta. Let's begin with some Torah. Okay, let's go to jump to Daf Tes. Daf Tes. Amar Rebbe Laza. This is the Gemara they didn't. This is the reason they don't learn the first parak in the yeshiva for little kiddies. Amar Rebbe Laza. Ha'omer Pesach b'suach matzasi. A guy comes with a claim. I found my Pesach open. In other words, I found she's not a Basula. Nemon lo'isra alav. He is believed to asa her on him. Fred the Gemara va'amai. Why? Svek sveikahu. It's a double suffix. Suffix tachtav. A. How do you know the fact that she's not a Basula transpired after the Kedushin? Maybe it took place before the Kedushin. Maybe it took place before she was an Eishes Ish, and therefore she would not be Asa. Right? And even if you're going to say it took place when she was an Eishes Ish, Safik Ba'inus, Safik Baratzain. Right? Maybe she was forced. And if she's forced, she's not Asa on her husband. Or maybe not. So in other words, we know a little bit about Sfekas. If you have a suffix, if it's suffix d'oraisa, you're going to be machmir. If it's suffix d'rabanan, you'll be mekel. If it's a svek sveka, in other words, it's a double suffix, then it'll be muta. So Fred the Gemara kasha, and it really plays upon us. What do you mean to bring it to Bezdin that it's going to asa? Why should it asa? It's a svek sveka. Maybe what? Maybe it took place before she was married. And B, and even if it took place after married, maybe she was forced by another man. So the Gemara answers over here, guys. Like tzricha be'eshes kayin. It's speaking about the wife of a kayin. If it's the wife of a kayin, guys, then there's only one suffix, right? Because a kayin can't live with an anusa. Even if she was forced, she'd be usher on her husband. So therefore, the only suffix is whether it was before she was married or after she was married. But if it took place if she was forced, that's not a suffix because she'd still be asa. Whether it was willingly or unwillingly, since it's a kohen, it'll be asa. Or be by sema be'eshes Yisrael ukigoyin the kibul ba'avua kidushim pesuchim baskimul shanim b'yam echad. That the chachamim, when her father, is beating the side to the shazeh, he received kedushin. He married her off when she was 3 years old. Guys, if she had relations before 3. The Basulim come back. So therefore, there's only one suffix over here. Did she willingly or not? But certainly it took place when what? When she was married. So either one takes place. The Bas Kohen takes place of the Anusa part. Bas Kohen takes place of the Anusa part. And the fact that perhaps she got married at 3 years old, even it can't be tachta, of course, shalai be tachta, because before 3 it would have came back. Says Tosfos by us, get back by us now, Daf Beis. 4th Tosfos down. Shem hoyolei tainus besulim. If he has tainus besulim, will come to Bezdin. Vim toima frek Tosfos hatenach eshes kayin a besucha mibas shalish. The leka ela chad sveka, where you only have one suffix. Kidamina b'gemara. Avol b'shar noshim the ikka svek sveka amay tinasei liyam dalid. What? Again, you make this takana, you get married on your dalid. Why? The only person who should get married on your dalid is someone married to a Kayin or a girl that's getting married at 3. Anyone else, it won't make a difference because there is no taina. It's a svek sveika. It's a svek sveika. And yet we said across the board, every single woman gets married on Wednesday. Why would it help? It would only help for 2 people. One who is marrying a Kayin, where it's the suffix whether she was before or after, or one who's marrying a girl at 3 years old, it's a suffix whether she was forced or not, but not before or after. Says Rabbeinu Tam, in other words, once for Ashes Kayin and for a Bas Gimel, you had to make it on Wednesday. We made it for all Basulis on Wednesday. So that's so fascinating. The whole takana is because of 2 odd situations. Dafka marrying a Kayin, which is not so odd, but marrying a 3-year-old, which is odd. And then that's why across the board, even though it would be a svek across the board, maybe it took place before or after, maybe she was on Nusa or Baratzin, nonetheless, late plug Rabbanan. Okay, so Rashi, l'chayra guys, according to Rashi, this whole shaila doesn't begin. What did Rashi say? That Aiden would come and maybe get some clarity. So the Achronim speak out beautifully in Rashi. A svek sveika, do we say, oh, svek sveika, nothing to talk about? Or if I possibly could go ahead and clarify the svek sveika, would there be a mitzvah to do that as well? In other words, le'inyan, the psak, svek sveika, you're right. Svek sveika, l'chayra, there's no way she can be usher and a husband. But one second, is that etched in stone? Or if it's possible to clarify the svek sveika? So obviously that's the machlokes Rashi and Tosfos. Tosfos holds we don't care about. Once it's a svek sveika, that's it. And therefore, there's a double suffix over here. Maybe before she was married, maybe after, maybe she was forced, maybe she wasn't. According to Rashi, no. Rashi says if it's possible for Aiden to come and be mevara the suffix and clarify the suffix, there will be a mitzvah to do so. So we introduced in the Sechta with a very geschmacka machlokes Rashi and Tosfos with a nice hesber in Rashi, and also like Tosfos to limit the Sula Nissus Liyam Revi is only because of 2 people, one marrying a Kohen and one who's married at 3 years old. Very geschmack.
Maybe I'm missing something. When is there time for this Anusa Baratzin? Aren't they just getting married now?
Let's say he's counting with Tainus Pesulim, right?
Yeah.
In that 12-month period. Maybe, perhaps, that she was forced in that 12-month period and she's not Asa. She'd only be Asa if she did it willingly, right?
What's the 12-month period you're referring to?
Between when she accepts Kedushin and the Suin. It was a 12-month period. She's married for 12 months without living with her husband, right? That's the period we spoke out called Erison, Bimei Erison. During that time, Shalom, she is an Ashes Ish, but she's not living with her husband. Okay? Okay, anyway, getting back to the farm. Okay, Amar Rabbi Yosef, Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Shmuel, Mifnei ma Amru Besula Nissus Liyam Revi. Why do we say a Besula gets married Yom Revi? Now, it seems to be a funny question because the Mishnah says why. The Mishnah says, in order that what, if in fact that he has Tainus Besulim, he should go to Bezdin. That's not what it says. Lefi Shaninu, we learned, Higiya's man, the 12 months are up. Now, for 12 months, he's not supporting her. She's being supported by her father. Higiya's man, V'loi Nisu, and he doesn't, and they don't get married, and they don't get married. Oichelis Mishaloi, he has to support her. Oichelis Betruma, and if she's marrying a Kohen, then she would need Truma. Then she needs Truma. So in other words, that's if you get okay. Yochel Yegia Zman Becha B'Shabbos. I might think if the Zman of 12 months shows up on a Sunday, Yehei Mailah Mezainis, I might think he has to feed her. L'kach Shaninu B'Sula Nissus Liyam Revi. In other words, since you get married on a Wednesday, right? You get married on a Wednesday, and not on Monday, and not on a Sunday or any other day of the week. The only time support would have to come in is on a Wednesday. So we're saying the reason why you get married on a Wednesday, is why? Is because since when 12 months gets up, she transforms from being supported by her father to be supported by him. You might think if after 12 months comes up on a Sunday, you have to, no, there's a set day. Wednesday is the day. Wednesday's the day. That's it. Now, this is kind of funny because you just went ahead and kind of did away with our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says the reason you get married on a Wednesday is because you have Tainus Pesulim. Now you're telling me the reason you get married on a Wednesday is if it comes the time 12 months later, that he doesn't have to support her from Sunday to Wednesday. That's what you're telling me. So I'm Rabbi Yosef right away attacks. I'm Rabbi Yosef. Mari de Avram, Lashon of Shvua, Mari de Avram, Master of Avram, Mari de Avram. Tali Tanya, B'delay Tanya. You were totally something that was learned and something that wasn't learned. You were totally something that was learned and something that wasn't learned. What do you mean? Now, fellas, this is a Mishnah. This Mishnah appears on Daf Nun Zayin. So, in other words, you're telling me Tali Tanya, our Mishnah, where it says the reason, and Loy Tanya. So it says right away. What do you mean? What it says? What are you talking about? Hi Tanya, but hi Loy Tanya. Our Mishnah was learned, but the thing about 12 months, that if you reach 12 months on a Sunday, wasn't learned. Hatanya Batanya. Ours is a Mishnah on Daf Beis, and that's a Mishnah on Daf Nun Zayin. Says the Gemara, Ella Tali Tanya, the Mefarish Taima, a Mishnah that explains the reason. Our Mishnah that says that you get married on a Wednesday simply that if you have Tainus Pesulim, Tanya Delay Mefarish Taima. And the Mishnah that says if you reach 12 months, she eats, it doesn't say anything whatsoever about if it falls out on a Sunday that you don't feed. So you went ahead and made our Mishnah, which says the reason, totally in a Mishnah that doesn't say the reason, which is, again is bizarre. It says, Ella, what does you mean? Ella Itma, you want to learn Shmuel's din. Rav Yosef from Yehuda Shmuel, it must be on something else. Itma hachi Itma. Rav Yehuda Shmuel, b'fnei ma amru besula nisas li amarvi'i. Why do you say a Basula gets married on Wednesday? Like our Mishnah. Shem hoyle tanis Basulim, hayamashkim lebezdin, you go to Bezdin. Okay, now what's the kasha that the Achroinim had, that the Amoraim had? V'tinasei becha b'Shabbos. Why do you limit getting married on a Wednesday? You should be able to marry on Sunday as well. Shem hoyle tanis Basulim, hayamashkim lebezdin. That if you had tanis Basulim, you'd be able to go to Bezdin, right? So why Bezdin convenes on a Monday and a Thursday? So just like you get married on a Wednesday, that if you go ahead and you shouldn't go ahead and calm down. So too, if you get married on a Sunday, you won't calm down by Monday. So there's a reason you don't get married on a Sunday. Here's the reason. Shaktu Chachamim, the Chachamim, the art school taished it diligent. I taished it machmir. The Chachamim were machmir al takonis b'nai Yisrael. They were machmir on the b'nai Yisrael. They wanted her to have a nice wedding. They wanted her to be what? With her husband. He should be Tareach Suda 3 days. Echa b'Shabbos Sunday, Sheni b'Shabbos Monday, Shlishi b'Shabbos 3 days. The caterer should be busy with 3 days to make a nice wedding. Ubervi Kansa, and on Wednesday they would get married. So that's why you get married on a Wednesday. What happens if you get married on a Sunday, right? What's going to work? It's not going to work. Why? Sunday, Shabbos, you have Shabbos, Friday, Thursday. Friday, Erev Shabbos, and something, you're not going to be busy. So either you're not going to have a nice wedding, or he's going to be busy on Sunday for the wedding. And what you want is him to be free to take care of the wedding stuff and not think about anything else. If he's going to be busy with the wedding, he's not going to be busy with his wife. So therefore, Shaktu, the Chachamim, they mamish were machmir to go ahead and say only 1 day a week to ensure the beginning of marriage, the Shalom Bayis should be in place. The Shalom Bayis should be in place. Says the Gemara of Achsha Sheshaninu, Shaktu, now you're telling me that the Chachamim were machmir to go ahead and say, therefore, that's the reason you get married on a Wednesday. So in other words, it's etched in stone that you get married on Wednesday and no other day. Oisa Sheshaninu, the Mishnah on Daf Nun Zayin, Higiyazman v'lei nisu, that if it comes the time of 12 months that it falls out on a Sunday, if it came on a Sunday, Since he can't marry her, you hear this? Push it. You got it straight. You can only get married on a Wednesday. Therefore, only time that she can have is feed me. Only time that she can have is feed me. Since there's no chuppah aside from Wednesday, if the 12 months falls out on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, for any other day, he doesn't have to feed her. He can taina, I can't get married to you. If I can't get married to you, I don't have to feed you. So now this Mishnah, our Mishnah, goes ahead with the Svar of Shaktu, goes ahead from the Kasha that was asked and explains the Mishnah on Nun Zayin. Let's go through that side again. Our Mishnah is going to explain the Mishnah on Nun Zayin. How so? Our Mishnah says that you can only get married on a Wednesday. Fred the Gemara, the whole reason you get married on Wednesday is because if you find that your wife didn't have a basulim, you can go to Bezdin. So that's the case. You get married on a Sunday, you can go on Monday. Says the Gemara, no. There's another aspect of it. If you can't get married on a Sunday because you won't make proper wedding plans. We want to go ahead and make a proper wedding. The 3 days to go ahead and take care of things. If you take care of it one day, get married the next day, it's not going to be good. Okay? So says the Gemara now that we see that the only day you can get Wednesday, by extension, that would explain the Mishnah on Nun Zayin. Says the Mishnah, if 12 months are up from the time of Erisin to Nesuin, and you're supposed to start feeding your wife, that's only if it falls out on a Wednesday. Sunday, Monday, any other day of the week. You're not mechuyev, because why? Because I can't marry you, because the Chum said you can only get married on a Wednesday. Okay, so now, guys, this is a shtickle tainus amen onus, right? I want to marry you. I can't. It's Sunday. I want to marry you. I can't. It's Monday. I want to marry you. I can't. It's Tuesday. So his taina of an oinus, meaning I'm not at fault, saves him from feeding her. Good. Let's by extension now take that tainus oinus and extend it. The taina of I want to marry you, but the Chacham won't allow me to. So now let's extend that, which the Gemara is about to do. Says the Gemara the following. Now that you tell me Miata, therefore you have a taina of I'm not at fault, I'm an honest. Chalahu, if he gets ill, he or she gets ill, or she's a nida and they can't live together, then he doesn't have to go ahead and give him mezainis. Why? He's an honest. I'm sick. I can't marry you. You're sick. I can't marry you. You're a nida. I can't marry you. I can't live with you. Right? You can't do the suin. The chuppah nida. So now you have a raya that by extension from our Mishnah, any oinus, I don't have to feed you. That's one way. The ikar de boy lo mi boy, and there are those who go ahead and ask this as a question. The ikar de mi boy le boy. There are those who ask this as a question. Whether in fact, this taina oinus is it different than the taina of the chachamim. So again, in the first lashon, just like I'm an onus, I can't marry you because the chachamim allow me. So to any other oinus would be in the same ballpark, or no, maybe there's a difference. Now we have 3 scenarios: he's sick, she's sick. Pirsanida. Now we're going to go ahead and say, are any one of these 3 is different than the Takonis Chachamim or the same? The Ikka, there are those. The boy lo mi boy. Chola who? Mahu. Hasam by what? By Shaktu, but that Takonis Chachamim, time of my mishum, the honest. He's an honest. He wants to marry her. The Chachamim allow it. V'hachanami ha'onos. And here too, I want to marry you, but I'm sick. Oidilma hasam honest b'takanta the tekinola rabbanon. Hacha loy. In other words, there it's the chachamim. The chachamim made the takana, but over here, what can I do? Maybe it's a Wednesday. Obviously, he must be speaking on a Wednesday, and he's sick on a Wednesday, and therefore maybe not. Chachamim made the takana, but maybe your time is honest that you're sick is not a good time. If you're going to tell me him being sick, my lamazainis is not a good taina. And in fact, if he gets sick on a Wednesday, he would have to go ahead and feed her. What happens if she gets sick? Matzi Amala, he can tell her, here I am. I'm, as they say in the vernacular, I'm waiting by the chapel. I'm here by the chapel. I want to marry you, right? And but it's your fault, and therefore I don't have to feed you. Dilma Matzis Amala, she can tell him, your field is flooded. It's your bad mazel that I got sick. Meaning, it's not my fault. I'm sick. So it's your mazel. The last Rashi in the page. It's loshin motor soichef. It's loshin of motor. Your field is flooded. Kloimer mazel chol goram. It's your bad mazel that I got sick. So 12 months, the Wednesday after, or the exact day, 12 months later, you have to feed me. I'm sick. Just like your field gets flooded, so I'm sick, but you have to feed me. That's so in other words, that he has to feed her. What about cholzahi? Can she taina nistabcha or not? Finally, what was the last shaila? And finally, Pirsanid Vimtim Solaimar Amrale Nistabcha. And if in fact she can taina, the field is flooded and you have to give me mezainis, Pirsanid the madu. What happens if the woman sees her cycle? Now we know a woman can have a cycle that's a veset to be seen at a certain time, or what's called a veset kavua, or a veset she'ena kavua, which not necessarily is she going to see at this time. Mahu b'shas vesta loyti boilach. The shaila is not b'shas vesta. The loy matzis amalei nistabcha sedeyu. Guys, what's the taina of nistabcha sedeyu? It's your mazel that caused it, correct? If she has a veset kavua, a set veset, obviously then what? It's not your mazel. It's kavua. This is my part. Kiti boilach shaloi b'shas vesta. If she saw dam shaloi b'shas vesta, not in the time of a cycle. My kivin loy b'shas vesta. Since it's not normal to see at this time. Matzis amalei, she can tell him nistabcha sedeyu. Just like she can taina, I'm sick, and normally I'm not sick. I have a period, and normally I don't see blood at this time. So the same thing, it's not sedeyu. And just like over there, he would have to feed her, so to here as well, he'd have to feed her. Since they're women whose veset vacillates from time to time, kishas vesta dummy, it's kishas vesta, and she can't taina nistabcha sedeyu. Okay, so in other words, in the first lashon, we all put them all in one boat. Any single honest is the same. Whether it's caused by the Chachamim on a Wednesday, whether it's caused by you being sick, her being sick, and or Pirsanida, he would not have to feed her. Or no, maybe there it's the Chachamim is stopping him. But over here, maybe sickness, her sickness, Pirsanida, I have it sad that maybe he has to go ahead and feed her. And it's not the same as as the Kanis Chachamim. That's the Gemara Shaila. What is the Gemara answer? Pashit Ravachai, he's Pashit. It says Higias man. The lashon of the lashon guys is it comes time for nisu, and they're not married, and they are not married. Oichlis mishaloi, oichlis betruma. Loinasu loikatani. It doesn't say he didn't marry her. It's Ella loinisu. They weren't married. Loinasu is mashma. He did not marry her. Loinisu with the yud is mashma. They aren't married. Now, hechidami. Idikama akvon in he. If they're not married because of her. If she is stopping the marriage, living together at this point in time, there's no way in the world there's a svara that he would have to feed her. Ella must be lav. It says they didn't marry, not because she didn't want to marry, but it's not this. She was an anus. And ki haygavna, ukutani oichlis mishaloi v'oichlis betruma. So it must be they didn't marry. You know why? Because there was an anus. Either he was sick or she was sick or Pirsanida, l'chayra, they should go ahead and be able to get married. So therefore, let's be paishet the shaila. Let's be paishet the shaila. Says the Gemara, no. Any oinus she would not eat. Would the kama akva in he, and speaking in taka where he stopped it. And really, you should have said loy nasu. Really, you should have said loy nasu. In other words, guys, read it like this. Higias man, if 12 months come, for loy nasu, and he doesn't marry her, then oicheles mishaloi v'oicheles betruma. Oh, that in other words, really, there's no time to sign this. I could say that. I said, why do you say loy nisu? Ubedinu the loy lemisnit loy nasu. But I did tani reisha bididi. Since the whole reisha was speaking about her, tananami sefer biditi, it's speaking about her that they didn't get married. So don't make the diak just for contextual reasons to have the symmetry of the brisa. Since the first part of the brisa was discussing her, the second used the lashon, but einachinami, it's really should be only him if he stops it. But einachinami, she stops it. Ken Zayin, he would not have to. So you're not paishet the shaila. According to this, you weren't paishet the shaila. What would the din be, right? If it's an honest, we know if it's an honest because of bezdin, then he would not have to. In other words, if he's not his fault, it's not from Wednesday, he wouldn't have to. But any other honest, according to the lashon, you wouldn't have a raya. The Gemara now digresses totally, guys. The Gemara goes an extension of honest. Now, it goes in a very famous sugya if there's a tainus oinus begitten or not. Now, guys, a tain of honest means the following: there's a guy makes a tanai and doesn't fulfill the condition. So when you say the following, tanai batal umay sakayim. Again, here's this. In other words, if a guy makes a condition, this is your get if I don't come for 12 months, and he doesn't come for 12 months, then it's a good get, right? Why? Because he didn't fulfill the condition. So if you have a taina oinus begitten, that means that you can make a disclaimer on the tanai, it would be a good get. If on the other hand, ain't tainus oinus begitten, then tanai is that you don't fulfill the tanai, then it's a good divorce. So it said this is going back, guys, on this lefikach. If you go back to the Amid Aleph, 11 lines in the bottom, lefikach. Therefore, since if on Wednesday, since a 12 months shows up on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Lefikach chalahu b'shechol sehi b'shapir senida einam alam mezainis. In other words, according to this lashon, not the Ikad Army, according to this lashon, you have an oinus by feeding. Any oinus that happens, okay. The Gemara now suggests the following. Amar Rava says Rava, le'inyan gittin ain't came. When it comes to gittin, it's not so. Says Rashi, the fourth line from the top. Le'inyan gittin ain't came. Alafikach koi. As I just showed you, it's going back on the words lefikach on the Amid Aleph. The ashmi'inon she'akebes ha'oinus peitrasei min ha'mezainos, that the oinus patas him from mezainos. Le'inyan gittin ain't tainus oinus my elis. In gittin, the taina that I'm not at fault is not going to hold. And in nasan get le'ishtei amanasim le'ovay adzman ploini, he gives a get that this is your get if I don't come to extra period of time. It's hey get for nenas, and then an oinus happens v'loy ba hare ze get. It's a good get. He's not able to say what I wasn't honest. So no, it's ain't tainus oinus begin. It's not going to stop the get from going through. Good. So again, even though guys, le'inyan the 12 months there is a taina of honest that doesn't have to feed. The Indian get, there is no tainus oinus, and it'll be a good get because the tanai was not fulfilled. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to ask, where does Rava know this from? The Gemara is going to bring a few sources. The Gemara is going to conclude that these sources are not necessarily foolproof, and the Gemara is going to say it's a svara. We're going to just do the three sources and call it a day. Okay, says the Gemara. Amar Rava, ulinya get ain't a cane. Linya get ain't a cane. That means that there's no tainus on. You can't taina an oinus. Alma kasava Rava ain't oinus begitten. There's no taina of an onus of being at fault when it comes to a get. Minno leila Rava. How does Rava know this? How does he know that? In other words, we see there is a tainus oinus by what? By regarding feeding. We know there's tainus oinus throughout. When it comes to the shoymrim, right? There's an honest. I'm an honest, right? Came along robber, put a gun to my head. I'm an honest. There's not kind of honest, right? But this is kind of honest, a little different. This is your get. This is your get. If I don't come from now until 12 months. And he dies within 12 months. So now, there's two possible reasons why this is not a good get. One, right? Ain't a get. Why is it not a good get? Either because he's dead, the ain't get achamisa, or tinus sinus beget. There's no bigger inus than a person dying. Says the Gemara. Mesu the ain't get. Dafka, because he couldn't give the get because he's dead. Hachala, but if he was alive and sick and he didn't come after 12 months, how is a get? Then it is a good get. Why? Because ain tinus inus begitten. I don't care why you didn't come. The reason, in other words, the taina that you're dead is not a good taina. It's not a get because the person physically can't give a get after misa. Guys, we're speaking where the get is chal after 12 months. There's two possibilities. The get is chal retroactively from the day you gave it, or the get is chal after 12 months. We're going now that the get, he didn't say me'achshav. He said the get is chal after 12 months. So now, comes 12 months, he's not there. Why? Because he's dead. So now, why is it not a good get? Because a dead person can't give a get. Mashma, if he was sick, it would be a good get. Why? Because ain't tinus sinus begetting. So that will be a raya to Rava. Says the Gemara, no. Even if he was sick, it's not a good get. Why? Because yesh tinus sinus begin. So what's the chiddush? The chiddush is don't make the diuk that you made. Only if he's dead, it's not a good get. But if he's sick, it is a good get. But guf kamashmalan. The chiddush is the ein get lachamisa. Sometimes when the Gemara says something, a brisa says something, it's not for an inference; it's for the object itself. So what's the point over here? Not to teach me that there's no tinus inus. It's to teach me the din that a dead person can give a get. So if he gives a get in September and he dies, next September shows up and he's dead, it's not a good get. Why? Because he's dead. Einachinami, but if he was sick, right? It also won't be a good get. But you needed to tell me this din of tinus sinus but not to tell me tinus sinus begin, because even if he was sick, it won't be a good get, because yesh tinus sinus begin. You needed to tell me this chiddush of what? Of the fact that a dead person can give a get. Now, says the Gemara, why would you think that? Says the Gemara, ain't get lachamisa, hatanalei reisha. The reisha of that brisa we learn it from. What is saying the reisha, the brisa? How you say gitech in mesi? This is your get if I die. How you say he's a shchiv meira. A shchiv meira is a guy who's on his deathbed, and we don't want to go ahead and make him too bent out of shape. We don't want to make him too bent out of shape. So we say divrei shchiv meira Kesuvos dam. It's like he made a kinyan and gave it over. And he says the following. This is your get if I die. This is your get if I die from this sickness. This is your get after I die. He didn't say anything, right? Why? Because you see, ain't get lachamisa. So it must be when he says this is your get if I don't come for 12 months. It must be hachala if he gets sick, right? It is a good get. Why? Because ain't tinus sinus begin. So back to l'chayra, we've substantiated Rava's pshat. Because it can't be to tell me the din of get lachamisa. I know that from the first part of the brisa that get lachamisa. Says well, no. Dilma fuki mit Rabbi Seinu. Maybe the reisha comes to fuki the shita Rabbi Seinu. The Tanya for Rabbi Seinu he tiruli nase. The chachamim they permitted her to get married, meaning she doesn't fall to yibum. For Amina and my Rabbi Seinu, you know why she doesn't fall to yibum? Because she's a divorcee, right? This is the bezdin that mated the shemen of an akum. We're going to see a sugi to get that by the Zara that there was first initially the shemen of an akum, just like cholav akum and gavinus akum was asa. So it was the shemen, and they reverted it. Machlekes who the bezdin was it Rabbeinu HaKadosh Rabbi Yehuda, or was it his grandson Rabbi Yehuda Nisia? Good. And Sabila Rabbi Yosi, they held like Rabbi Yosi. Dama zman shel shtar machiach alav, that the zman of the shtar is machiach. Guys, you give a get in September. You write the get September 1st, 1902. Even though you didn't say Lemafreya, why do you write the Zman? It must be that if someone dies within that year, it's a good get. You know why? Because the get is dated what? The get is dated what? September 1st. So the get is Mochiach, that was a get from September 1st, 12 months before. So maybe that's pshat why you had to tell me and get lachamisa. Right? Because of that reason, but not because to tell me that yesh tinus sinus begin, so you have no raya. You have no raya because it could be the reason why we stated it that ain't get lachamisa. The reason we stated this is afuke the shita of the chachamim, but not to teach me that there's tainus sinus begin. The element sefer must be from the sefer. We're gonna learn that ain't tainus sinus begin. What does it say in the sefer? Until now, he said the get should be after 12 months. He says the following: this should be a get me achshav from now, and leibasi mikad ma yubes chodesh. This should be you get from September 1st, 1902, if I don't show up December 1st, 1903. And it should be retroactively. So now, umeis b'toich shnei masach chodesh, and he dies within 12 months. Once it comes, the clock ticks September 1st, 1903, Harry said get. It's a good get. He's dead. Not when he gave it, he wasn't dead. You're going to work retroactively. What's the diuk? Mace, if he dies, for hu adin l'chala, and hu adin if he gets sick and he doesn't come back, right? So why? Because ain tainus sinus beginning. Guys, ain tainus sinus beginning. So that l'chayr be a raya to Rava. Says no, mace dafka. Mace dafka, I'd say l'nichale the tipel kame yavam. He doesn't want to falling in front of the yavam. Now, the whole reason for the get. Why would a guy give a get? Guys, think about it. This is your get. Anytime a person makes a tanai in a get, if a guy's not happy with his wife and he wants to get out of it, he's going to give her a get. He's going to best and give her a get. Usually, when there's a tanai, there's a reason, and usually the reason is he wants her to be a gerusha that she shouldn't fall to yibum. Good. So now, if he dies, then she's going to fall to yibum. So what did he want to do to subvert that? Give a get retroactively, so she'll be a gerusha when he dies, and she won't fall to yibum. But what happens if he's just sick? If he's just sick, she's not falling to yibum, he's alive. So maybe then there would not be a get. It wouldn't be a good get. So you have no raya that what ain't tainus sinus begin. Ain't tainus sinus begin. Well, let's see one more time. Says the Gemara, the element sefer, mi achshav and leibasi mikadi yibes chodesh, umeis b'toich shnei masach chodesh. How does they get? Mace, if he dies, it's a good get. For who adin l'chala, it's a good get. You know why? Because even though he didn't come, right, ain't tainus sinus begin. So the get is a good get. So I was going, no, Dilma mace dafka. Maybe mace dafka. People come yavam. So you don't want it to fall. But Mashenkin was alive. Maybe it won't be a good get. Elameha. Dahu da'amalahu. Iloy asina mikan vatil siyamin. If I don't come from now until 30 days, lahavekita. Asa b'sayf til siyamin. He comes within 30 days. Upaskim ibra. And he's the ferry went across. He missed literally, guys. He missed the boat. That's probably where it comes from. The lashon, he missed the boat. He missed the boat. He's on the other side of the river, and he's trying to get across. 30 days, and the next boat's coming. It's going to be the 31st day. He's on the other side of the river, and Amalai is screaming, "Chazoy lasoy, chazud asoy, see I'm coming, see I'm coming." Amar Shmuel says, Shmuel, loy shmei masya. That's not considered coming. And therefore, since you didn't come, it's a good get, because the kind of an honest that you missed the boat is not a good get. So l'chayr, we can be poshet. Rava said this ain't tainus sinus begetting. L'chayr, you have a proof from Shmuel, who was, again, until now we've been trying to prove it from a brisa, from a tanoic source. At least Rava is finding an amorayic source from an earlier Amoira. Fred the Gemara, v'dilma einsa d'shchicha shiny. Maybe the reason why it's a good get, because this is an onus that he should have thought about. Getting sick, you can't think about. Knowing the schedule of when the ferry comes in is definitely something you could do. And and onus the shchicha shiny, the kivin the boilu les nuye v'yasne iu davzeh nafsha. Since he should have came and he didn't, he's the one what is mafsa on himself. So we failed to go ahead for various reasons to prove any time the sinus begin from various mishnas. But tomorrow, Bez Hashem, will prove it what from from Rava's Svara. And thank everyone for being here. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Have a good job.